My brother, you gotta hold on. That's how you get on. I'm tryna ball, man. I need it all, man. I can't stall, man. Not tryna fall, man. That's what the hustlers say. Looking at the sun, no pain. So I'm up on the freeway. Cause they ain't shit free, man. I'm on the hustle like gay. On the freeway. Ain't shit free, man. I hope it ain't a traffic jam on the freeway.
When you're back against the wall, it's like who can you call? All I wanna do is shine. All I wanna do is ball. It feel like me against the world. Drinking Henny till I earl. I'm in love with the money, cause I can't trust none of these girls. I'm just a future gang nigga. Switching lanes, nigga. Never change, and I stay with that flame, nigga. I drink that Henny out the bottle. Tryna hide away from problems. Gotta get up off your ass if you wanna go and solve them. Now check me out, I'ma get it without a doubt. Real niggas know what it is. Punch a hater in his mouth. Tell them niggas I got clout. 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 I'm just a money boy. Even when I struggle, I'm gon' still go get that money, boy. Ain't nothing funny, boy. I'm about that money, boy. Future gang about that money, boy. Yeah.
I'm tryna ball, man. I need it all, man. I can't stall, man. Not tryna fall, man. That's what the hustlers say. Looking at the sun, no pain. So I'm up on the
Massa, my girl, her own Medusa. The bricks in my safe. That money that ain't saved. Massa Musa. My girl, her own Medusa. The bricks in my safe. That money that ain't saved. Tell these niggas pay me in gold bricks. Pay me in gold bricks. Tryna break the bank like Massa Musa. Pay me, nigga, gold bricks. I hustle hella hard like I'm from Mali. I ride out with a bad thing beside me. Louis V. Got my trunk on pound cake. Baker's coming soon. In the kitchen all day. I barely go out. I'm in the lab like Dexter. I've been in the gym. Watch how I flex her. I'm flexing. She not about the dough, I don't text her. I'm about the mo, not the lesser. Massa Musa. My girl, her own Medusa. The bricks in my safe. That money that ain't saved. Massa Musa. My girl, her own Medusa. The bricks in my safe. That money that ain't saved. Tell these niggas pay me in gold bricks. Pay me in gold bricks. Tryna break the bank like Massa Musa. Pay me, nigga, gold bricks.
Back on that bullshit. Why niggas hate? So we gotta keep that broomstick. We got the ball. Pockets gotta feel the blue strip. It's 27. Yeah, we ruthless. Little nigga. Yeah, I'm back on my bullshit. Why niggas hate? So we gotta keep that broomstick. We got a ball. Pockets gotta fill with blue strips. It's Safe City. 27. Yeah, we ruthless.
We get it straight to the top. Back on my bullshit. No, I can't stop. Knock 19, no stop. Play with the fan, put him in the box. Look at my neck and my watch. Tryna be me, but nigga, you not. Niggas be talking to cops. But hella quiet when we been in your blocks. Hey, keep that same energy. Cause niggas not friends with me. I'm tryna ball MVP. Niggas don't fuck ring cause they enemies. And I give a fuck cause we family. Got my check up, now niggas can't stand me. MCD bitch, me up next. All you niggas is Kotex. Water down, let it talk when we not around. Aim City, we the hottest out. 2020, bitch, we ballin' out. Fuck Corona, we ain't in the drought. Yeah, I'm back on my bullshit. I just got a broomstick, full stick. Please don't make me use it.
We back on that bullshit. Why niggas hate? So we gotta keep that broomstick. We got a ball. Niggas gotta fill with the blue strips. It's Safe City. 27. Yeah, we ruthless.
Trapping on the block with my Glock 17. Trapping on the block with my Glock 17. Trapping on the block with my Glock 17. Trapping on the block with my Glock 17.
Trapping on the block, yes, trapping on the block. Youngest on the pot, nigga, watch out and kick the glide. Gotta watch out for the car, cause yeah, shit be high. But I don't give a fuck by any means, so the stacks to me. Niggas better peep it, me, the best kept secret. I do the damn thing, nigga, that's for sure. Yeah, so the bills are on the block, letting them know. Yeah, nigga, what you screaming? HP, 2-4. Yeah, I represent, motherfucker, that's for she's swinging the breezy, round to the DG. The game needs me, and that's for sheezy. Slinging from the west all the way to the east.
Trapping on the block with my Glock 17. Trapping Glock 17. Trapping on the block, nigga, trapping on the block. Trapping on the block, nigga, trapping on the block.
You ain't shit, nigga. Nigga, I know where you from, nigga. You ain't that type, nigga. You frontin' for, nigga, you ain't even like that for real.
You ain't gon' make it, you basic. That's what you thinking. You gon' drown and come back killing shit, nigga. You think you Jason? Hell nah, if you fail off, just embrace it. You waiting on your break is nothing but a waste of patience. I know rappers that's killers. I know rappers that's hard. You ain't squeezing them triggers. You ain't one of them bars. You rap how they rap and shuffle how they shuffle, but don't act how they act or hustle how they hustle. That's why they don't discuss you. Your lifestyle should discuss you. No hoe I know will lust you. Your team can't even trust you. You had your shot, your shit got blocked, go back to 9 to 5. Everybody fail, cuz pay the shit no man. In fact, rap the man. Fill it up with lead. Just to clear your man. Put it to your head. Trust me, you'll be fine. Jackie, don't be scared. Squeezing, you gon' end up everywhere. What's going on in my life? I swear I need to get my mind right. Man, I don't know what to believe. Someone, could you come and help me, please?
With my comrades, we be talking about big cash. We be rolling up hella grass. No numbers, you don't know the math. I be moving with my comrades. We be rolling up hella grass. We be talking about big cash. You don't know the numbers, no math. I'm so bossy, fool, get off me. Not about the chips, man, you lost me. Invest in funds and stocks and shit. I need big house, big rent, big chips, big dip. You could catch me doing what I do like every day. On the hustle like getting it like every way. I need 7 hustles for my meal to stack. I'm off up in the back. I'm trying to count some racks. I'm trying to blow some packs. I got the wood by the pack. And you can play this high level. It'll blow out your back. The game kinda crazy, tragic. I work this shit like magic. Mr. Houdini, tryna unlock Kundalini. Got girls coming out of bras and bikinis. Need the land dog, you could keep the Lamborghini. 707, you should've seen me. Moving with my comrades, we be talking about big cash. We be rolling up hella grass. No numbers, you don't know the math. I be moving with my comrades. We be rolling up hella grass. We be talking about big cash. You don't know the numbers, no math. Break it down, roll it up. Let's do the math, talk numbers, talk bucks. When it come to the game, you ain't fucking with me. Call me Mr. Do It All, man, I come with a fee. I got them beats, got the graphics, got the videos. If you need dope fits, nigga, I could give you those. If you want the dope shit, email, give me those. I be in the loud house, all in the studio, smoking on the loud puff. Nigga, that's the loud stuff. You can't fuck with us, RBR, man. You could just miss us with the sucker shit. Yeah, we be up to shit. I could see me moving on up, but no George, no Weezy. Hard working nigga like Weezy. Chestnut checkers, I don't need you to king me. Yeah, one step at a time. But you know one thing, that a nigga on his grind, and I'm moving with my comrades. We be talking about big cash. We be rolling up hella grass. No numbers, you don't know the math.
Make this shit look easy. Make it look easy, bitch. Make money easy, bitch. Sit down, shut the fuck up, and pay attention.
Bitch, I'm real easy. I make this shit look easy. Snatching up your breezy. Choosing on your kneesy. Make it one easy. Bitch, get on your kneesies. I be rocking J's, ho. I don't do no Yeezys. Young fly fresh nigga might be on TV. All my tapes is X-rated. I don't do no PG. Put it in my pocket, ho. I don't do no freebies. Need it stacking up, bitch. Every time you see me, I make this shit look easy. Put it in your breezy. The hoe chose up, cause a nigga hella peasy. Young fly fresh nigga, might be on TV. I be rockin' J's, ho, I don't do no Yeezys. All I do is check traps and steal BZs. Making money easy, as long as she sleazy. Bands in my hands be the only thing that please me. Yeah, she gets strange for some motherfucking change. For me, she curved them lanes. All the bitch want is a nigga with some game. Looking like a rapper, but I probably sell cane. It's smoking Montana, bitch, ain't shit changed. Bitch, I'm real easy, I make this shit look easy. Snatching up your breezy, she choosing on your kneesy. Making money easy, bitch, get on your kneesies. I be rockin' J's, ho, I don't do no Yeezys. Young fly fresh nigga, might be on TV. All my tapes is X-rated, I don't do no PG. Put it in my pocket, ho, I don't do no freebies. Niggas stacking up, bitch, every time you see me. All my tapes is X-rated, I don't do no PG. Every time she see me, hoes think I'm dreamy. I make that coochie creamy, Belushi with the drink. Yes, bitch, I'm leaning. I'ma get rich while she swallow semen. Pimpin' selling dope, I'm California dreaming. All the whole job, my diamonds be gleaming. Gold round my neck, Yes, bitch, I'm gleaming.
Yeah, I was taught a scared man can't win. Half heart, half money. I was homeless, never bummy, sometimes broke with little money. Had a dream and put in work, whether rain, snow, or sunny. Early bird, get the worm, early nigga, get the money. I take hustling seriously, ain't a damn thing funny, nah. Ain't a damn thing funny. I take hustling seriously, ain't a damn thing funny, nah. Ain't a damn thing funny, My ex calls me a rude dude. I had to leave her cause her head game was boo-boo. Get a new girl and break her in like new shoes. I like to keep her ass guessing like I'm Blue's Clues. Ooh, lyrically blessed, call it juju. Lyrical hoodoo, yeah, I'm spitting voodoo. And who knew a ugly nigga like me could have so many women across the country? Motherfucker, yeah, I know what's going on. You smiling in my face, but you wanna see me gone. Why can't we all just get along? I just wanna get my money and be left alone. Talk to me, tell me what's going on. Where they act like they support you, but they hating all along. I don't even care if you hating on my song, but if you think I won't make it in life, you dead wrong. Yeah, you dead wrong. You think I can't spit it? I prove you dead wrong. You think I don't live it? I prove you dead wrong. You think I won't get it? I prove you dead wrong. Yeah, meditating on my next move, smoking Gorilla Glue. The high really puts me in a lyrical mood. I light it up and let it do what it do. Pick up my pen and pad, write down my thoughts and views. My mama raised no fool, my daddy raised no coward. I spit the real deal every top of the hour, top of the morning. Good morning, America. I see the White House got the world in hysteria, but I'm not scared of it. I don't know fear. I predict Trump's impeachment the end of the year. No year 2020 in my vision, and I can see clearly now. Fuck the system.
It's the Bakers, Louis. She been wondering about me, I've been wondering about bread. So long she got a pain in her head. Don't worry about little me. I'm on the hustle like every other fucking week. No time for these. I'm trying to touch on them and laid up all night, baby, just not him. The Henny in my cup filled up to the brim. It might tip over, yeah, spill over. Life of a tycoon, stay on the tycoon. Man, she think I'm cheating, done with psycho. Meanwhile, we making maneuvers. Me and Louis V shit like manure. Oh, baby, it's all gravy. I'm married to the grind, cause that shit pays me. So you gon' be number 2? I'm the bread, yeah, that's my boy.
What you doing? Put the V on the map. I got the V on my back. I come kill your party for a couple of stacks. I go hella hard to put the V on the map. What you doing? Putting the V on the map. I got the V on my back. I come kill your party for a couple of stacks. I go hella hard to put the V on the map. I go hella hard to put the V on the map. I come to your party with the knockers and slaps. When I go hella harder, you know that though. Mr. Management, I told this girl drop it low. I want that ass to move, I wanna see you groove. I'm from the RBR camp, man, I told you dudes. We on the move, going fast. in the fast lane, smoking on some gas, man, it's burning like some propane. Backwards, rolled up, married to the Mary Jane. On a mission for the money, trying to get the chickens up. Feeling like Earl and Furl, your girl give me the pearl. Because she see me on my grind, trying to run the world. I'm on some white sand, drink with some chicks in bikinis. And you see me somewhere, trying to lock Kundalini. I'm a boss man, chess game, don't need you to key me. Put the V on my back last night, should've seen me. What you doing? Putting the V on the map. I got the V on my back. I come kill your party for a couple of stacks. I go hella hard to put the V on the map. What you doing? Putting the V on the map. I got the V on my back. I come kill your party for a couple of stacks. I go hella hard to put the V on the map. I come
yeah.
a couple of stacks. You can find me with the clouds, man. I'm up in the back.
Yeah, this your boy DJ Bro. Anna's Historical Podcast. We about to get it going in a minute. We should be starting in about 6 minutes. We're going to keep this going. We're listening to Mr. Manish. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep this going. That's how it is, and that's how it's going to be. Anna's Historical Podcast. Let's go.
We be all in the stands. We be up on them couches. We be getting the vans. I be needing the fan, cause I'm spicy like gumbo. I'm feeling so humble. Trying to be the king of the whole damn jungle. Give me the rock, won't drop it, won't fumble. What you doing? Putting the V on the map. I got the V on my back. I come kill your party for a couple of stacks. I go hella hard to put the V on the map.
This is a tragedy. I can only imagine what these parents are going through. I think all of us have to do some soul searching to figure out how does something like this happen.
This is me.
I'm a smoking, disrespectful asshole. From the Bay, but left my heart in Castro. Busy writing lyrics, washing dishes for the cash flow. Hard to keep track of the goddamn gram smoke. But I gotta stay sane. You be with your dogs, I be with my Great Danes. They all call me Cash, I've been trying to make change. Could've moved to LA, they all do the same thing as me. Was recording with Don at Jay Lee. Jay Lee had about a half recording these songs, and maybe have to roll the blunt or two. Minimal talking, the smoking doesn't stop even after your mama walking. Blunts, I still being passed, still coughing. Promising we gon' be real till we in coffins. Tryna make a slap that the Moopy girls can vibe to. R.I.P. my nigga, you know Mookie had to slide through. You know Spitter had to rhyme too. Me and my homies see the things that you're blind to. It's like you're blind fool. It's like your mind's full. I got my mind full cause I stay mindful. Get stung if you threaten my beehive. Hate and get dissed and kiss my black behind. Good vibes, feeling better than a weed high. Trying to shoot some birdies, but don't know when the tea time is. Trying to be the best since we was kids. Trying to be the rest, but too busy getting lit. Trying to cheat the test and next to certain kids. Looking over shoulders, feeling surely wasting time. Was supposed to write an essay, but too busy writing rhymes. In the corner, reminiscing, rapping about the different times. I was later underrated. If you hate it, you could die. Man, I'm kidding, but listen when the nigga on the mic, cause I got shit I gotta say. It's been a few years, still got homies in the A. She was talking about some shows, me and Magic like okay, feeling comfy in the clothes. Caping high for all the lows that I witness every day. I got love for what I say, but I gotta move away. No, it's cheaper in the desert, so I'm living in the Bay. Cause the people in the desert look at you at different ways. And I hate it, rather walk down Market Street, seeing people negative. You walk down Market Street, see me with my tape in my backpack, double tree, switching flavor grape, having flashbacks, making tracks up by Scotty Bays. Drop the
shitting on these fools, seagulls, no pigeons. Whatever you think, dope me, fit the description. Get your prescription, flow like opium. Bay nigga, I still not copium. Seek like peak, turn a good girl freak. Party hard, I gotta show every week. Grind like Latinos, I'm tight like Speedos. When I get the money, I'ma have hella e-hoes. No time for e-hoes, internet itches. I'm dope in real life, no Instagram mentions. Louis V managed, the baker's the kitchen. You owe us something, we'll make you wash dishes. Wax on, wax off, motherfucker. Oh, I need my dough, motherfucker. Oh, I know that you like that. Damn, everything comes with a price tag. Like a candle, too hot to handle. Not about a check, I scramble. Hard left, quick right. Everything in life come with a price. Show me the price tag. Show me the price tag.
Show me the price and how much it costs. Me like
All this
that.
rapping me doing got me looking at price tags. Louis V got me feeling like a damn salve. Math, division, subtract and add. I'm multiplying, you see the numbers, man? Kush smoker, vagina poker. Keep a straight face like I'm playing poker. Blessed by rap vibes, this game is kosher. You salty ass niggas got my blood pressure high. My girlfriend mad cause I'm staring at her thigh. I ain't talking about when I mention my third eye. My leanie unlocked, man, I'm a genie. No turban, I'm all in the Vallejo beanie. Salmon linguine, pescatarian. Sab unlocked, no veterinarian. Mr. Manish in a reppin', ooh. Reppin' the Bay right, thought I told you, ooh.
Lit like a candle, too hot to handle. Not about a check, I scramble. Hard left, quick right. Everything in life come with a price. Show me the price tag. Show me the price tag. Show me the price tag. How much it costs? Me like that.
Show me the price tag. Show me the price tag. Show me the price tag.
Yeah. What's up, Anna? How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Anna. What's going on now?
Hey, Mario. Hey, man. How's it going? Hey, Roselle, where are you at, man?
I'm
Hey,
here.
Anna.
I'm here.
Hey, okay. We got a special guest tonight, Roselle. This is Mario Sacedo.
Hey, what's going on, Mario? How you doing, dude?
Hey, what's up, Roselle? I'm doing okay, thank you. How you doing?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, this is my DJ right here. Okay, I'm just starting our live. I tagged you. I tagged you in it, Mario. So hopefully people will be tuning in. So, okay, welcome to Global History Night, everybody. It is our night to look at global history, politics, and to hear from people in the community about what they're doing, about what their lives and who they are. So I've invited Mario Sacedo, who is the founder and director of Solano AIDS Coalition. Mario does a lot for the community, and he is also extremely creative. I mean, I think of you as an artist as much as anything, Mario. So do you want to start? So you started Solano AIDS Coalition about 15 years ago, right?
We start, hey, everybody. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much. You know what? Talking all that, you made me flash. I'm like, what is she saying so much?
I know.
About me, but no. I moved to Vallejo in 2004, and I was living in Hollywood. You know, I was in Sherman Oaks, California, and I moved to Vallejo in 2004. So that's when 2005 really is when we started Solano AIDS Coalition. 2004 is when I started talking about, because I saw the need in the community that I choose to live. You know, I was just coming for the funny thing that I was just coming for a visit. You know, I was going to just stay for a little bit because I passed through too much in Hollywood. Too much. Hollywood is crazy, you know.
Yeah.
For all of you that be working in Hollywood, and I'm a special effects artist. I do costumes and makeup for 23 years, and I work for different makeup effects companies in Los Angeles. So I moved here, and I was like, what did I going to do? I moved to Fairfield. So I saw that I was a lot methamphetamine using in my community in Fairfield, Vallejo, where the place that I was moving, and it was a lot of things going on, crazy things. I mean, I talking about 2004, 2005, when downtown Vallejo was bored. All the windows was bored. It was nothing in there.
Yeah.
It was a lot of drugs in the corner of Marine in Georgia. I remember like yesterday, it was like a lot move, a lot prostitution and a lot of drugs and all that. So, but I saw that, that it was a lot needed in this community. So I developed a passion. I was like, I was getting out from my life was not doing that well in those years in 2004, 3, 2002, 2003. I was doing crazy things. Never harm anybody, but I was living my own life and getting down into a dark hole. And when I moved to Vallejo, I tried to get out from Los Angeles and get out from that dark hole. And I come here and I see that I was going to be able to just outreach some people that was passing through probably the same thing that I passed through in those times. I was doing drugs. I was like crazy. So I saw a lot of that in here. So, and I also lost every one of my friends in Hollywood. I have so many friends.
Yeah.
So I lost everyone to the HIV from the HIV pandemic. I moved to the United States in 1987 from Mexico. I'm well educated. I went to Mexico and to the school. I went to school and I almost finished my degree to become a veterinarian doctor in my country, but it was not my gig. Anyway, going back to the downtown Vallejo, so this is where I found my passion. I was like, what else I can do that save lives, help somebody, be involved in a disease that killed dozens and dozens of my friends, and we opened the Solano Ice Coalition in the corner of Marina in Georgia. It's a little hole in the wall, right in the corner next to the townhouse. And we start right there, and then from there we went to different buildings, different faces, and I met you. I remember when I met you, like 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So I remember when I met you. So we was in a big building. So doing all these things. So overstressing yourself, working with a community that with a lot of disparities and a lot of things going on with the government and with the people and with the police and me seeing, and I'm a brown man too, so I'm missing everything that is going on that is not fair in my community. I was like, well, let me try to bring a little bit of something, a little bit of help. It was like, what, I'm so proud of my work in this community. I'm so happy of the people that I outreach. Solano Ice Coalition.
Oh yeah, because
Anna, we've been doing so much stuff.
So hi, Calvin. It's Calvin listening. Hi, Calvin, and Zeke. Hi, Zeke. So for people that don't know, Solano AIDS Coalition also distributes food to people and clothing, and the big thing every year is the toy drive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All these kids. I remember Anna when the first year you bought all these little blankets and books and educational stuff. So and that's one of my. I have to say that me personally, and I know that a lot of the people that following the Solano Ice Coalition all these years, I know that they agree with me. It's like the toy drive, it became one of the most important things. We have World AIDS Day, then we have the toy drive. That's my two things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then we add Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
Dia de los Muertos. So, it's so much to do. So much that we all do together. You do so much for the community too. You help me a lot. Thank you so much. I have to thank you because, everybody, we all work together towards a cause. We can make it.
Yeah, Rizal, you got to meet up with. So what made you decide to come to the United States?
Well, I was okay. So when I was a teenager, a friend of mine, I have friends in the United States. So I was I don't like the way the way of living in my country. I mean, it's very healthy, but it was a lot of things going on in there. My father passed away. I always wanna since I was a kid. Listen to this, and this is the truth because my mom laughed about it all the time. In my family, all my family, we talk about it. So when I was a kid, I remember like nine years, probably 11 years. We watching Frankenstein, a movie, special effects movie with my mom and my brothers. And I told my mom, I want to work doing movies. And, you know, in Spanish, I was telling her I want to work making movies. You know what I mean? How life is that I end in working in the Hollywood industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I work with so many different studios over there. So I did what I said. And right now, right here, I remember when I told Calvin, we were going to open the Solano Ace Collection. It's going to be a little thrift store. It's going to be very popular, and we're going to help a lot of people. And I did it, and we're still doing the same.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right now we don't have a building. I don't want a building. I don't want a building.
That was a lot of work.
I don't want a building. No.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but we're still doing. We have a lot. We do HIV education. Right now we also start doing COVID-19 education and prevention. You know. Because the vaccine, I mean, we have talked about the vaccine. People don't want to get the vaccine. So, I mean, it's like, there's so many things that we can, so many theories in Facebook and Google and the media, all these media theories. But you know what? I want the vaccine because, first of all, if they going to control me, they already control me. If they want to kill me, they already, I mean, what? Get the vaccine. That's one of the main things. So we're doing that. We have counseling, a lot of counseling. We do also, we have a program right now. We don't have it, but it's going back. But we have a program with the Touro University. We're talking about HIV/AIDS and HIV prevention. So we're still doing the same thing.
So it's so hard to talk to people, to communicate with people. You're looking at issues that are very personal to people. People can be shy, defensive, mistrusting. There's cultural barriers. What would you say are some good ways to connect, to educate people?
You know what? I have to tell you one of the main things to me. One of the main things, no matter who it is or who you are talking to, or who you talking to, who you are approaching, you have to have respect. You know, you have to have a lot of respect for the person. You know, like I said, whoever it is. You know, you can. The other things that you cannot be judging. You know, you cannot go and see somebody and go and try to be judging people. I mean, we're living in a community that we have so much disparity, so much discrimination, so much color discrimination, so much sexual discrimination, so much overweight discrimination, so much all kinds of discrimination. You know what I mean? And I mean, to me, this is personal. To me, the thing that has been working is that when I engage with a person that you have a problem or sometimes they don't even have a problem. You know, you engage, just that engagement and that the respect that you give to that person and that space that you give to that person, allow that person to start talking to you. You know what I mean? That person see like you easygoing. I mean, you are not, that person is looking around. I mean, you have to be very careful because you're right. And there's so much going on. You say the wrong thing. And I mean, I remember, now that you say wrong things, I remember, let me tell you one thing. It was, 2009, I think it was 2009. I still talking about HIV. I still talking about condoms. The community, oh my God, the community in Vallejo, in Solano County, when you was talking about sex or condoms or HIV/AIDS, everybody was running from you. They don't want to talk to you. It was weird because it was like really, I was like, what is going on? I mean, why people don't want to talk about it? You know what I mean? Very difficult, but funny thing, it was having experience in Starbucks. It was this probably 1984, no, probably 84 years, senior citizen, grandmother, great grandmother. And I have condoms, you know, and I have information about HIV. Yeah. So I started talking to her, and it was like the religion, it was a barrier, but I saw the way that she was looking and the way she wanna know, but because part of the religion, you know, you cannot talk about sex, you cannot talk about this, you cannot see all these different things. So slowly, she built a trust on me. She saw me again, and she built a trust on me. And one day, we start talking about. She started taking condoms from my basket, and she told me, "I will going to take it to my home because you're right, Mario. I can just leave it right there in a basket in the toilet. We have to protect our kids, you know. And thank you." So
it's just such a big thing because that's your will. You have to take time. You have to care enough to be willing to take time with people. Because, like, you know, nobody's just gonna go, you know, if you're gonna come up and suggest something, nobody's gonna, oh sure, Mario, you know, people aren't gonna just do it at first. You have to build that bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Trust that bridge, you know what I mean? And I am so happy. You know what? It's I live in a very diverse community.
Yeah.
I love my work. You know what I mean? I do have my ups and downs. You know what I mean?
You know, nobody's just gonna go. You know, if you're gonna come up and suggest something, nobody's gonna. Wait a minute. Whoa.
Huh?
That was. Okay, we're okay. I don't know what just happened. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
No, they repeat the same thing about that nobody's going to be so, you know.
Yeah. Somebody's
but you know what? It's very difficult, and especially talking about when you're talking about sex, when you're talking about AIDS, when you're talking about condoms, it's still right now, 2021, still right now, people that they are not want to know nothing about condom. They know they look at you funny. They are, they call you names because that, and you know what? Sad, because to me, 1987. Well, they say 1987, but we have to be realistic. HIV/AIDS has been here for a while. So, in 1987, the outbreak of HIV/AIDS. You know what I mean? Everybody's talking about it. These billboards everywhere. You know, people dying left and right. We lost millions of people to HIV/AIDS.
Yeah, we had COVID before there was COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but you know what? The thing is, like, you lost so many people, but you know what? People still don't want to learn, because 30 some years later, you still seeing the percentage of HIV infections are high.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we have Shantae watching, our sister right there. Hey, Shantae.
What up, Shantae?
Shantae's a cosplayer. And so Shantae, I had told you before about Mario, and he does Katrinas, and you got to come be a Katrina, man. It is, she'd be amazing. Oh my God. Shantae is like costumes and everything. So
you can check our Facebook at Solano AIDS Coalition and Facebook Chantel, and you can see all the pictures. I designed the dresses, but This year, for Dia de los Muertos, Ana, this year, I only want to design a couple of dresses. So much work because it's going to be a big. I want a big competition.
But I want to do it this year. I want to do it.
Okay,
Just
well, you
finally.
have to.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, because I'm an introvert, so I love the clothes and stuff. So I didn't know if I could last all day going around talking to people.
You probably will be the first time. You probably will be really shy, but you will like what's going on, and then the second time is always the second time is the best when you dress up and you go and be a Katrina. And you know what? That's one of the other things that it was very difficult to educate the Hispanic community. So that's why Day of the Dead emerged in Solano County, because I wasn't able to talk to the Hispanic community about the HIV virus, and the rate was high, and so we decided that we was going to start the Dia de los Muertos festival. So when they come and they see the Dia de los Muertos, they always ask about it was an easy bridge to start talking about the condoms, about HIV, about other health issues that was facing about.
And it just
some of these people that they need interpreters, some of these people that they need somebody that help them with to apply for services. Some other people that they have to go to court or face court or different things, family law, stuff like that. And we always help. The Solano Escalation is always, besides the point that we have so many different programs, we also do referrals. We refer our community to the right hands for any problem, you know what I mean? So we come from being helping only families affected and infected with HIV virus. We start helping the whole community. I mean, I have kids right now that when I started Toy Drive, they was 3 years old. Right now they are, 21, 23.
Oh, yeah.
I have kids that they are like 32 years old, and I was providing toys to them. So it's a really beautiful feeling, because we do. And you was there. You was in one of the toy drives. You see how hundreds and hundreds of kids we have, hundreds.
Yeah. And so, because now especially, the older we get, it's like the parents are practically kids to us.
Yeah.
But it's just what I love so much about it is that it gives the message to families that the community cares about them. And it's saying to parents, we know you're really trying to provide for your kids, and we want to help, we're here for you. We value you.
Exactly. And you know what? The other thing is and you're right, as you say, we need to do that. I was in the immersive learning center with Paul last week, and I was talking to him about, because he have a shoe drive for kids.
Yeah.
So we went there, and I saw, this weekend when I go back in there, he was telling me that he was you can see that he was very depressed. He was really anxiety, and he was upset because he talked to everybody. He advertised everything everywhere, and I'm so good that this is live, because I want to ask everybody that hear us right now that please donate a pair of new shoes.
Yes.
To the shoe drive. The shoe drive that is going on. 250 Georgia Street.
Shoe drive, people. Yeah, please do.
Yeah, because we need 500 shoes, 500 shoes for kids, and these kids really don't have shoes.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, the families cannot afford to buy the shoes, because they're, especially right now with the pandemic. So he is doing a shoe drive. So I asking everybody, please donate a shoe to some kids, because our kids is our future. We have to take care of our future. And that's why I keep doing what I'm doing, because you know what? I always say that our future is our kids. That's our future.
Yeah.
So if we don't take our future, if we don't pay attention, then it's going to go crazy. It's going crazy already because we was not paying attention. That's why all the this is going on outside with our brown community, with me, and I'm Mexican, you know, so I'm brown. So all these problems that they going on right now is because we was not paying attention on what our kids was doing, you know what I mean, or what, and then all these discrimination that we have towards us, and we separating, and they try to have us separated, and so many stuff.
Yeah.
But again, you know what? I'm happy that I doing my work in the community, and right now we delivering food. You also helping us with the food, and we just hoping that the pandemic is stop. You know, that everybody take the vaccine. That everybody, I mean, let's protect our
I
loved
miss
ones.
being out and seeing people so much. I just want to add that that's another thing that's so great about Day of the Dead, that if it weren't, you know, is that you see these children that have like a whole big cultural event where people look like them, you know, and it's such where they can connect. And, you know, now, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily live in the same town as their grandparents. So, you know, it really passes on heritage.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, and I'm just hoping that we'll be able to have some summer, you know, I mean, Juneteenth, 4th of July.
Well, I just hear that I hear that they canceled the 4th of July.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hear that they just canceled it.
So, what were some of the movies that you worked on?
I work in we work in different groups, so it's a big team of people that work, and we work in different areas. You know, some doing makeup, some doing the costumes, but I help to work in like the Shining. I help in Little Big Food, Mail, Meet the Deedles. I work in. I help with doing a lot work for like the sale. I help doing some stuff for Nightmare on Elm Street, Power Rangers.
Oh wow! Yeah, Roselle's getting real into this now.
but you know, I was very young, and I made a mistake. And I don't regret it. I don't regret. I mean, I should be working in Harry, but I don't regret, because you know what? God is good. God put you in where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you one thing. I should be dead by now.
Me too.
I should be dead by now. But you know what? Obviously, it's something that I have to finish, because I mean, a couple of times I was just barely make it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here, so. But you know what, Anna? The other thing is, like, you know, I see a lot of things going on. I don't know about you, and I don't know about Ansel, but you know what? It's so much things going on outside right now that, I mean, with all this thing with the mask and all these things that we have to wear the mask and everything, and all this separation of families and all that, is so much stress and so much panic and so much.
Mario, somebody on YouTube is asking where to send donations.
They can for the shoes, they can go to the we have in JJ, right in Vallejo in JJ, the fish JJ. I think everybody knows JJ's.
That's off of Marine World Parkway.
Yes.
Yeah, I know exactly where that's at.
Okay, yeah, can you put that in for Scott, Roselle? He's asking.
And then also in the Mercy Learning Center, 250 Georgia Street.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we got a regular one of our regulars on here, Scott. But I just was listening today to I went to a Zoom meeting with Mel White, and he's a gay man that came from an evangelical background and went through like a lot of like people trying to force him, you know, conversion treatment and stuff like that. And so he's debated like Jerry Falwell and all these people, but he's in his 80s, and it was sad. He's ill, and he said he thought he might not be able to be doing more speeches. And he was talking, and I hope he gets through this, because he was talking about how he just feels like there's no point in talking to people and nobody cares and nothing's going on. So it was my turn. I said like, hey, I mean, I was like, I just met you, but I appreciate you. And yeah, things have changed. I said like, I mean, I go to a Baptist church, and 40 years ago, I wouldn't have been comfortable doing that. So that's because of you. Because I just wanted him, I mean, I think he was like in the midst of something, because and then he said like, there's no leaders. I was like, yeah, there's leaders. I mean, we need to look at each other, because the people that'll be remembered as leaders aren't always who we think they are. So I'm like, no, I have like, and also I'm like, okay, the youth today are building on what we've done and what our elders have done. They aren't better. Okay, get over it. I mean, it's all a progression. So the guy was like, okay, he's like, watch out for those Baptists. I was like, okay. But, I mean, I appreciate I was like, yeah, you've made a difference. You've definitely made a difference. So hopefully he feels that way, because I mean, yeah, I mean, if it weren't somebody like him, I mean, he's been like out, he's been like demonstrated against. I mean, there's people that have been out there fighting, I mean,
oh yeah, yes,
all along. So
yes, you know what? The funny thing, I mean, is right now, I mean, I thank God for all the changes and all the laws and all the big heroes like Harvey and and all our heroes from like Malcolm X, like Dr. King and all the heroes that they fight for our rights, what I mean, because it's still right now it's a lot of segregation and a lot of discrimination and a lot sexual discrimination in the church and in the government everywhere, so it's like it's just so hard. It's just so hard just to try to be your own self, and then a lot of people getting killed. You know what? Like I tell you one thing. One of the things that I mean, it was so depressing to me. Is like every day I have all these pictures about somebody's killing a transgender person or a gay person or a African American or it's all these man, who we are. I mean, where is our humanity? Where is our heart?
Yeah, and I mean, it's there's a lot of really scary. There's a lot. I mean, scary things happening, and then I mean, when things started to open back up again, then we're back to having mass shootings. I mean, it's I've learned, man. It's like now when I'm out in public, I hear a noise, I duck. I mean,
hey, and I'm gonna have to see that. I'd love to see that.
Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I will jump under the table.
Yeah.
I don't care. But you know what? No, it is hard to see the news and to see every time that you turn on the news, every time. I mean, I'm so sick, especially in Vallejo. You know what I mean? I don't care anymore about to say it. It's like, you know what? I'm sick of all this police brutality.
Yeah.
I'm sick of all these colored people getting to jail and getting stuff for something that somebody was not. Or I hate all this. I know hate. I condone because I never hate. But I mean, all these we're losing our kids. So I mean, I think also, you know what? People like parents have to pay attention. Parents. I mean, the parents have to pay really well attention in the kids because Hi, darling. Oh my God, she's with you.
Look, it's
Oh,
Tito Mario. Okay,
hi,
bye.
darling. She's like, I want to see him. I'm upset with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I was talking about that. You know what? I'm sick of this. I mean, I live in Vallejo 19 years. I gone for 20 years, and I see no changes in a lot.
You don't think so?
No,
Yeah.
no in a lot of things. No in a lot of things. No one is coming to. I mean, the crimes, the brutality, the discrimination. I mean, I still seeing it. I still seeing it. Not like the way it was, but I still seeing it. I see that it changed a lot. I mean, we don't have the same because 18 years ago it was a lot. It was a lot drug selling in Georgia State and in Sonoma Boulevard, and it was more active. You know, more like, and now it's less. But I don't know. I love. Let me tell you one thing. I love Vallejo.
Me too.
I love Vallejo.
Me too.
I love Vallejo. You know what? My friends in Hollywood, I mean, they've been telling me for 20 years, I can, and I should, but I don't. That's not, is my choice, and my choice is to stay in Vallejo. But I can be working in Hollywood right now, making $150 an hour, making $150 an hour, and going on set and go to all these premieres and go to all these premieres and have all these things going on. You know, I mean, I can do it, but you know what? Balancing. You know, I mean, I balance my life. You know, my life. I don't care about money. I don't care about going to have the best the $500,000 Lamborghini. I don't care about that. I care. See the being in drugs, being having the life that I have since I moved to this country, being experiencing everything I experiencing. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. And then I lost my brother recently to COVID-19.
Yeah.
So I learned so many things about the value of life, the value of telling you I love you right now, the value of telling your mom, your dad, your friend, your kid, your nephew, your auntie, hey, I love you.
Well, you went a whole bunch of years without seeing your mom. How many years did you not see your mom for?
Oh, girl, the first time was, let me see, it was, well, the first time it was not that much because it was only 3 years the first time, but the second year was 27 years.
Right, because I remember when I met you, you hadn't seen your mom in a long time.
No.
So, yeah.
So I see her, but you know what? I see her right now.
Yeah.
But no, like I was telling you, that's the truth. What I'm telling you is the truth. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not real. It's not real things. It looks like it's not real. You have to work so much for a lot of different things and people. You already have it. You have to build a lot tolerance about a lot tolerance. You have to have a lot tolerance of things that they're gonna, and then speak up. You know, speak your mind, because you know what? If you don't speak your mind, it's like you are.
Yeah, man, and that pisses people off, you know. Sure does.
Well,
yeah.
We live in a country that you have the right, you have the freedom of speech.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's something that nobody can take away.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I mean, I talked about it on the show before. I mean, I speak out because I can, because I just have the blessing to have that freedom, and a lot of people. So yeah. Hey, so we're about to take a break and move on. So just to like wrap up a little bit to everybody that was listening, do you want to like plug any more of your stuff, Mario Saucedo, Solano AIDS Coalition?
Well, the last thing that I want to say is this. You know what? We are one human race. We are one human race, one. And we should become what we are. We should not separate ourselves the way that we are separated right now. Because you know what? It no matter, nothing matter, no color, no race, no gender, no nothing. We are only one human race, one. And we have to love each other and we have to accept each other the way we are, and then we have to keep fighting for our rights, We have to keep fighting for what we believe. You have to fight for what you believe, what is inside you, what it moves you. Whatever it is that is yours is yours. You know what? And never be afraid of not succeed, because guess what? Just trying to do something, you already succeed because you already do the first step. So I wanna thank Axel and you also, Anna. How do you spell Hans? His name, Ansel?
Roselle?
Roselle.
Yeah.
I call him Hansel.
Yeah. Yeah, you know who I met him through? Jessica Brown. Remember Jessica Brown?
Yeah, I know him too.
Yeah.
I know him.
Yeah.
Very cool man, very cool dude right there. Very nice person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love Vallejo. I never got to do stuff like this anywhere else, at the radio show and the people I know. So
you can do it because we are family.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Vallejo is a big family because everybody knows each other.
It sure
the
is.
people that work in the community know each other. People that they doing the work in the community, they know each other. So we are a big family. Some of us are less pleasant than others, but guess what? We are one human race. Thank you, my friend. I love you.
I love you, Mario. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
All right, baby.
Okay, bye. Okay, Facebook, we'll be back in a moment. I tagged you in it, Mario, so hopefully people will be
nigga, the root of all evil. Yes, I'm dangerously stuck and saucy evil. Try to place myself under a cross in a sleeper while the dough flowing faster than some dope in a needle. We all know it's wrong, but it feels so right. They some the consequences that come with this life. My grandmother said she prayed for me every night. Just the way I said, follow 16 in my mind. Pray for me. I'm out here doing bad for the good of my family. Can't you understand? Bag full of snow in the middle of August. Track full of O's watching out for the coppers. I left church in my Sunday polo. Call my connect, make sure you're ready to go. It's like I'm shooting dice, gambling with life. I'm trying to win, been gambling all night. Pray for me, I'm out here doing bad for the good of my family. But can't you understand? Pray for me, I'm living life fast. Scale full of grams, chopper full of gas. Pray for me, I'm out here doing bad for the good of my family. But can't you understand? Pray for me, I'm living life fast. Scale full of grams, chopper full of gas.
Now Mary, watch over me, I'm stuck in these streets. I play for keeps, I know I'm getting over on me. Put some nigga back before I put a slug in your ovaries. It's in my blood to thug. Carry pistols and push drugs. Break down weed and stuff blunts. My niggas doing biz, 25 to life. They ain't gonna see that kid. So for them I rock with 2 chops and 2 clips. Hopping out the whip, drop down the left and Smith. Hail Mary, watch over my dudes buried in the cemetery. So many souls lost, trying to be the boss. Couldn't pay the cost, loyalty above all odds. But so many suckers love to flap their jaws. When the boss tell them drop they jaws. Hard on the street, but in jail they soft, mom. Shit, my nigga, I'm in the twin. Fucking with sauce and that nigga swing.
I'm who they gon' wanna be. I'm what they gon' wanna see. Hoes gon' wanna date a nigga like myself and lights come on, I'm who they peep. I'm selling niggas a dream. I'm taking deep innocence. Where did the world go wrong? I don't know when, I don't give a shit. All I know, give me my paper. All I know, give me my check. All of those who don't respect can sucker like meet the tech. Suckers get to meet the maker when we meet and not detect you sending threats. Put a hole in his esophagus for talking out the side his neck. I'm out here selling cocaine, eggs and his weed, even got the lean. I grew up inside the dope game. Me broke What you mean? Couple $1,000 in my jeans, chopper in the trunk like a spare tire. Mama brought me hooked on finance. To be honest, I still can't spare tire. Job, good credit, alone if I can buy it, then it's dead it. Love, girlfriend, matter of fact, after we off the around me. Fake hate, real niggas pound me, known for the iron like Robert Downey. Been the state feds in the county, y'all extra soft, y'all like bounty. Gold chain swing, put some rims on the bins. In the kitchen at grandma house cooking chicken, nigga whipping and whipping it. Finna pimp me up, put a on the script. While a week praise billions getting made came from cup noodles to lobster and shrimp.
We're back.
All right. Okay. Hey, what up, Facebook? Come on. Okay. Here we go. That was absolutely awesome. Mario, man, Mario's
Very
one
good.
of the, yeah.
Shout out to Mario.
Mario, yeah.
What is it, Mario Cicito?
Yeah,
Is that right? Mario Cicito?
Yeah, Cicito or
Much love to him,
Cicito.
man. Good dude.
Yeah, yeah, he sure is. Sure is. So okay, let's get to some stuff that's been, man, it just seems like there has been a lot going on, man. Seriously.
Yes.
Yeah. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good so far. It's been kind of slow, but good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's slow. It's like it's taking forever. Waiting for the weekend to get here. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, you DJing anywhere?
No, I'm not DJing, but it's just, I'm just ready for the weekend.
Yeah. Cool. So, okay, I've been reading and looking at some pretty interesting things this week, and I guess a theme would be young people on their own. And I just finished a really interesting book about the Chibok girls, the Chibok kidnapping, which was in 2014, almost 300 girls were kidnapped from their school in Nigeria by a group called Boko Haram. And that is a fundamentalist group. Boko Haram means nothing Western. They want to make everything Islamic law, but to be real clear, that is not Islamic. Islam is not about murdering and all of that at all. There's always going to be people that can take religion and twist it to serve their own purposes. And so, but like Boko Haram will like indoctrinate people that the world is flat. And so I'm going to talk about that, but I also want to mention another story I read, which is about 6 teenage boys that were shipwrecked for a year in, I think it was 1967. So there's a book called Lord of the Flies. Are you familiar with it?
Yes, I am. I read the book and I've actually seen that movie a million times.
Okay, what'd you think of it?
When I first saw it, because it kind of, you're thinking it's gonna be weird and corny, kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
But that movie gets crazy.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, I kind of vaguely remember reading the book. I know when I was young, I never saw the movie. So okay, that book was written to try and show what happens when you remove all structure and discipline. So that was the question. And so according to that book, everybody will go nuts and start slaughtering each other. In 1967, a group of 6 teenage boys in Tonga, which is right near Australia, were going to school, and they decided to do a little joyride, a little joy boat ride, and snuck out at night and stole a boat and went out to sea and were drifting, and the mast fell. So they were lost, and they were at sea for 8 days, and then they finally landed on land, and they were there for 15 months. And yeah, and so they were discovered. It was the guy that discovered them just died. So in his obituary, this he was sailing, and some of his crew members thought they heard someone. He's like, no, it's birds. And then he saw this young man like swimming toward them, calling, and he thought it might have been a hoax, and he radioed in, and they said that there'd been funerals. People really thought these kids had died, but they were nothing like Lord of the Flies. They made themselves a kind of structure. They were living off like papayas and coconuts, and it took them 3 months, but they managed to build a fire, to get fire going, rubbing sticks. And so then they assigned one of them would always be there to make sure the fire was going. They made musical instruments. They found, like, the island had been inhabited way in the past, and they left chickens. Zeke, are you still listening? Zeke, my friend, loves chickens. So they like farmed those basically, and they scheduled time for prayers, morning and evening, and it's evening. And they made a rule that if there was any arguing or fighting, the arguers would need to walk away from each other to the opposite side of the island, and then come back. So, they learned, they caught fish. They made musical so here's a quote from one of them. The next step was to build a little house. I was the one who knew how to weave coconut fronds, and that's what we walled the house with. It took me 2 weeks to weave all those palms together, and then we divided the inside of the house. There was a fireplace in the middle, and then we cut down banana leaves to fill up each bed. Then we started organizing everything in a roster: how to keep the fire, how to say our prayers, along with taking care of the banana palms. We all worked together as though we'd lived on the island a long time. So, wow. That is what should be. There's talk about making a documentary or something. I just read an interview with one of them who's in his 70s, but the guy who rescued them was a really well-known sailor, and they all wound up working as crew on his boat. So the young man said that he learned a lot there. That's amazing. Imagine for the families. So
I'm gonna say this though, the kids on Lord of the Flies were little brats.
They were little brats. Oh yeah.
They were little. Those are those little rich. They were like little rich poor. Those kids
exactly.
Those like. That's why theirs turned out to be different. These kids seem like
exactly.
They seem more resourceful. They knew their stuff. Those other kids, from watching, you just knew that those kids was gonna lose it. They were totally out of their element.
Yeah, and also, Steve, in that culture, they send their kids off to boarding school when they're like 7.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah, so they don't have they're not they don't have close bonds with anyone that much. If you don't have close, I mean, when you have having close bonds with your parents helps you develop bonds with other people. So they didn't have that, you know, whereas those Tongan young men, like, yeah, they were. So yeah, and we're gonna move. So like basically, man, rich kids do not have very good survival skills. In other words,
That was a prime example, man. That was a crazy movie.
yeah, and they don't, they're not resourceful. They don't understand community. You know, they don't. They're, you know, I mean, because if you have a lot of money, you can really isolate yourself. I mean, you don't necessarily. So
Was that supposed to be based off of a true story?
no.
The Lord of the Flies? Okay.
No.
I thought it wasn't.
No. I mean, it's kind of, being shipwrecked is there's a lot of stories like that. I mean, it's kind of a traditional story, but a lot of them would have happy endings. So yeah. Yeah, they were pretty awful. What, did some of them wind up killing each other?
I think that because there was one kid that was like a bully.
Yeah.
And so they tried at first. They tried to. Whoa, you know what's funny? It was almost like politics at first. They had two kids. One kid was a bully. The other kid wasn't a bully, but like him and the bully were equal. Like the bully wasn't gonna mess with this one kid.
Mhm.
And so the kid that was supposed to be the good kid tried to make it to where, you know, if you want to talk, you have to hold the conch. I remember something like that.
I remember that too.
And then they tried to really go on this whole little political thing. These two kids were like the main kids, and I guess the crazy bully kid started beating up all and messing with all the other kids. And so it started getting weird to where they all had to split up, and some people went with the one kid and the other ones went to the bully kid, and the bully kid started getting really crazy. They just like started going loony over the whole thing. It was a crazy movie.
Yeah. Well, this was really fun. This was really cool. I mean, it was a pretty remarkable story. And it actually said, like, as soon as he said that, like, as soon as, like, when they got off the boat, he picked up some wood and he was like, sort of like sucking on the wood to get moisture out of it. I mean, yeah, they were real resourceful and real faithful. So yeah, so pretty remarkable. And, you know, God, wouldn't that be a great story to be assigning kids to read instead of Lord of the Flies?
Lord of the Flies was crazy.
So okay, so going along, the Chibok girls. So this happened in 2014. As you know, I mean, I'm real interested in global politics, so I knew about Boko Haram and what they were doing when they kidnapped the girls the same month that they had bombed a marketplace. I mean, they were brutal. Brutal and destructive. But they had not yet, they would kidnap boys to be soldiers, but they had not yet kidnapped girls. But then the Nigerian government imprisoned the wife of one of their leaders. So they're like, okay, well, so they came to the school and they wanted to steal stuff there, but then they decided to take the girls too. And so this was there was like 276 girls, young women, and it was the only school in their district. I mean, this was a really poor community, and so these women had sacrifice. I mean, they really wanted to be there, and it was a risk. I mean, it was known that there were people out to destroy schools. So they kidnapped these young women, and so there was about 270 of them kidnapped originally, and over the first day or two, well, they were loaded up into trucks, and so some of them jumped off the trucks while they were going. So about 50 escaped in the first few days, or the first like 2 days. It was there was a lot of confusion. Nobody was even too sure how many girls were kidnapped, what their names were. Now I think even in real rural areas, you pretty much are gonna have young people who are able to have social media, but not back in 2014. So what happened was it hit Twitter, and first the cause was like taken up by a woman legislator in Nigeria who was tweeting it out, but then to try and like get some action, but then it was taken up. It went all over the world. This hashtag bring back our girls. Celebrities were tweeting it. Michelle Obama was tweeting it. And at the time, I remember I was even thinking at the time, like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And it worked to their detriment, because these guys love attention. They're maniacs. So it just made them more determined to hold on to the girls. It got them a lot more attention. And they're really organized, and they actually, I mean, we've talked before about ISIL, which is in Syria. ISIL is extremely organized, and they actually picked up tips from Boko Haram. And so before the Chibok kidnapping, there had been hundreds kidnapped. After that, there were thousands. It emboldened them, and they saw how much leverage they could get. So that is the problem with people when people start running their mouths about something they don't understand. And it's just very much a story of our time. Time moves so quickly with social media. Like, think back to what Twitter was in 2014. I mean, I wasn't even on Twitter in 2014. I don't think. No, maybe I was. But so, I mean, it's just the idea that you're doing something by tweeting a hashtag can cause a lot of damage. So these young women were incredibly brave, and and they tried to force them to become Muslims, and so they were given notebooks to write Quranic verses. But what a couple of the girls did was write diaries and write in English, so that if they were caught, the captors wouldn't understand it. And they would write prayers, and there's a real commonality with these people that survive. It's that their faith is really important to them. And they were supposed to, the book is, a lot of it is taken from the diaries of this young woman named Naomi Adamu, who was the leader, kind of. She was a little older than the other girls, but it wasn't just age. It has to be with your personality too. So like, they would separate the girls, and at one point they were giving one group less food than the other group, and so the group that had more food would sneak to the other camp to bring food, and they were all just like beaten, and they weren't supposed to pray or sing, but they would when they had like a glass of something, they would be praying and singing into the glass. But what one of the girls said was that gradually, I mean, there were bombings and stuff there. They said that they had seen so much bodies that they just cared less and less about whether they would be killed or not. And Boko Haram had this concept, like ISIS just drags off women, but Boko Haram, in their terms, in their own logic, think that they give women a choice about men. So what they would tell them is, okay, we want you to convert and marry, and if you don't, we're going to work you really hard and give you less food. So that's kind of a choice. I mean, in their world, that's a choice. And so they would be trying to break down one of the strongest girls to get her to marry, but she wouldn't. And so some of them would agree to marry. You know, they would just get worn down. I mean, they were being starved. So what happened was, okay, this is, you know, the governments were getting pressure because of fucking Twitter. And so here is, this is an example of how hard the job of diplomacy is. So here's what was happening at the US State Department. So they were talking about, the US did send in drones, they sent in drones that the Nigerians could use, but then they wanted them to send in people to, you know, fly the drones. And so all told, the room was debating the deployment of more than $250 million of sophisticated material over some of the world's poorest farmland, looking for teenagers held by a group that had never attacked the United States on a mission ordered up by Twitter. Why are we looking for some schoolgirls as opposed to looking for Al-Qaeda? A Defense Department official protested in one meeting. Another asked if the US was going to do this every time a group of girls was kidnapped, and if so, what's your threshold? Is it 5? Is it 50? But this was a chance to dispatch military power for humanitarian ends. So this is the kind of decision making that is happening with stuff like that. And I would just really hate to be in that position, because if that's your job and you're just supposed to look at things militarily, like, yeah, you would want to be really, you know, Boko Haram hadn't attacked the United States, so I would hate to have, but you know, but that was also the problem. I mean, it was like fucking Twitter having this much control. And so the small team that ultimately answered the global demand to rescue the Chibok girls worked in secret for one of the world's most discreet governments and smallest states. Switzerland had a group of negotiators that they would they would train negotiators, and they had people they would send around to try and help solve problems. The reason they did that is because they have banks, all the world's dictators and autocrats have their money in Swiss banks. So they're basically trying to get, I mean, all those, like, you know, the leaders, the corrupt leaders of countries have their money in Swiss banks, these dictator, you know, so like basically, you know, I mean, I don't know, Boko Haram might have had money in Swiss banks. So Swiss don't give a shit. They'll take anybody's money. And so they're trying, but so they're trying to like counteract that by helping to make peace. And so like they had an institute for people to learn about peacemaking that people would go to. And then so this was all happening underground. So there were some Swiss people involved with it and Nigerian people, and they brought back, because when you're trying, so the quote is, its success relied not on loudly expressing moral judgment, but on suspending it. They tried to reason with Boko Haram instead of denouncing it. And that just goes back to what we were talking about with Mario. Like, yeah, you can talk about how terrible these people are, but if you want to try and rescue anyone, you need to try and understand that, or try and communicate, try and find some things to agree about. So they, so some of the people that worked on this team were associated with Boko Haram. And so, Trika, hi Trika. Oh, okay. Trika, yes. Trika's watched Trika says it is based off real life. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh man. Trika, I'll send you the article of these young men from Tonga, because they were fucking awesome. So okay, cool. Now see, I'm on now I have even more devices. So I have my Facebook over here and I have my YouTube over here, so we can keep going to so I can see what's going on there. Yeah, that is Trika from Know Better Do Better, everybody. And so they had people working on the negotiations that were associated with Boko Haram. So you don't know, or that had ties with them. And that's what gets kind of confusing and interesting in issues like this is, okay, where do their sympathies lie? And if you have this closeness, peacemakers and diplomats are often accused of getting too close to the people they're negotiating with. And I'm talking about, in this case, there were people called in to negotiate because they had connections with Boko Haram. So this went on for a couple of years. There were arguments within the Nigerian government, within bureaucracy, about how to rescue these girls. But basically, I mean, they were Boko Haram. It's just basically believed that if there hadn't been all that media stuff, Boko Haram would have released them earlier. So what they did finally was they released, it was a prisoner swap and money exchange. It's not known how much was exchanged. But what they did at first was pick 20 girls to be released. And so in the book, it describes, they're like going like, they section off a group of girls to go, and they're going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. Ooh, 21, go back. I wanted to cry reading that. I mean, oh my God. So those girls were taken to a safe house, and they didn't even immediately tell their parents, because I don't know. I mean, other people would be going nuts, like, where are our daughters? And so about 6 months after that, another 100 girls was released. And so all told, they were in captivity for about 2.5 years. And there's about 40 of them died. And one of the things that happened was there was a bombing raid to try and rescue them, and it actually wound up killing 10 girls. And a couple had died in childbirth or died for diseases. And it's claimed that some of them didn't want to come back, but some of the ones that had been married off had children. And so they wouldn't have been, so that is just a whole different dimension. They probably wouldn't have been allowed to bring the children with them. And it was just psychological torment and torture. They would have just been brainwashed. And, when people kidnap like that, they were told that their parents, they would tell the girls that their parents were dead. And so it is a pretty incredible story. And that, again, I mean, it was just the strength that these young women had is just incredible. The strength, the faith, the bravery. I don't know, man. I hope I'd be like that. I don't know. You just never know till you're in the situation. So we got a real theme tonight of people roughing it. You could say. So
that's the theme.
It is roughing it. Okay. So that's Nigeria. Okay, so that's Nigeria. What else is going on? Oh, okay, because we've talked about, I remember the election really clearly because the president, Muhammad Buhari, who's still the president, was elected claiming that he would be able to defeat Boko Haram, which he hasn't. But it's just because the whole time they weren't even that far from their, like at one point they were only like 100 miles from their village. They couldn't find him. And so like at one point, like one of the things Boko Haram would do was, and this is something ISIS does too, they'd move into a town and just take it over. So at one point, the girls were living in the home of a state senator who'd been ran out of town. So yeah, I mean, and one of the people that worked on the rescue was a lawyer who had an orphanage for children that had lost parents to Boko, but the children were the children of Boko Haram and the victims. So, you hope that, that stuff like that Clarence Martin, hey man, how you doing? That people will, so, I mean, hopefully some more of them might come back, and I don't know. So, okay. So Chibok girls, you have my sincere regard. Okay, the Chibok girls, the Tongan boys. Okay, we've been following Alexei Navalny, the Russian opposition leader who was on a hunger strike, and he has ended his hunger strike and has been given medical treatment, and Putin pulled back his troops from the border with Ukraine. Hopefully that has something to do with Biden. And Russia's prosecutor has suspended the activities of Alexei Navalny's nationwide political organizations instead ahead of a court ruling that is expected to outlaw the opposition movement as extremist and threaten supporters with long jail terms. And in Uganda, hundreds of ordinary people suspected of supporting opposition politicians have been snatched off the streets by security services in the worst wave of repression in the East African country for decades. And so we were following, Bobby Wine, known as the ghetto president, who was his life was constantly being threatened. His supporters were killed. Yoweri Museveni was able to supposedly win an election, and he's like 95. I think he's like 80. So yeah, old ass people in power. Yeah, but and see again, I mean, his money is probably all in Switzerland. I mean, I kind of shows that okay, if somebody wants to help out, a lot of the time maybe you should look at why. Sometimes it's because they got a guilty conscience. Okay, at least 18,000 unaccompanied child migrants have disappeared after arriving in European countries, including Greece, Italy, and Germany. And most of the children are coming from Morocco, but also Algeria, Eritrea, Guinea, and Afghanistan. So that's got to be. I mean, they can't even keep track of migrant kids here in the US. I mean, so, I mean, that's really, since a lot of them are being trafficked, it is just pretty scary, because it just means that, the people that are manipulating and lying to them to get them in those little rickety boats are just probably not even, oppressing, just sort of basically kidnapping them. So yeah, so it's really sad. More than 100 migrants heading for Europe are feared dead in a shipwreck off of Libya. Okay, so should we get to the article that I sent?
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's check it out. Check it out.
Okay, this is a Global History Radio special. The Penn Museum at the University of Pennsylvania has reached a decision to repatriate or rebury a collection of human skulls from the 19th century, some of which were enslaved people and were used to illustrate false white supremacist theories. In the 19th century and into the 20th century, there was a system called phrenology, which had to do with the bumps on your head, and it was a racist. It was used to justify. How do you put it? It was developed for a racist mindset and used to perpetuate the racist mindset. So it's a collection of human skulls. It's called the Samuel G. Morton Cranial Collection. How do you even start?
Man, that's just crazy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I mean, so can you get DNA from bones?
I heard you I don't know how long it could be, but can't you get it from bone marrow? But there wouldn't be no bone.
There's no bone marrow in skulls.
Yeah, so I don't know how they would do that. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know what I would do, but I mean, in that situation would be to have a few, I mean, have a funeral. I mean, have a funeral memorial thing, and somehow try and make it dignified, and put people, that people are being put to rest, because I mean, at one point that was just nothing. It was like everywhere you went, it was no big deal to just see body parts in museums, and that people need to be laid to rest when they die, unless they agree to donate their bodies to scientific purposes. I mean, I'm gonna do that. I mean, I don't care. I'm happy to contribute to science. But yeah, it needs to be people's own decision. Yeah, there was also a story which I'm just going to touch on because I read it, but I don't even want to talk. They also have, at the University of Pennsylvania, they've also been accused of hanging on to the remains of bombing victims, some of which are children. So that was along with this, but I don't know, man. I can tell that's just kind of too horrible to even discuss. So yeah, we will follow up on that. Okay, so in somewhat cheerier news, there's a relatively, there's this is around LA. There's a beach called Manhattan Beach, and in 1912, a Black couple named Willa and Charles Bruce purchased land, and they were making them among the first Black landowners in the city, and it was a resort, like a vacation place, where people could come. And I don't know, I don't think there was surfing back then. People could come on vacation and enjoy the beach. And yeah, there were some pictures. It was really beautiful. But 12 years later, they were forced off the property as it was seized by the city, and it was like eminent domain, like claiming that the city needed it for something, but it sat empty for years and years. Nothing was done with that, and they were given like $14,000 or something for beachfront property. So on Tuesday, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors voted 5-0 to return the property to the descendants of Willa and Charles Bruce. This land is worth millions. I mean, fucking beachfront property in LA. So I've been looking at interviews with the family, and it's just, I mean, it just shows, when we talk about reparations and systemic racism, it just stuff like that is just an example. I was like reading interviews with the family members that were going like, this should have stayed in our family. And if that land had stayed in their family, they would all be living very, very different lives. So what my sincere hope and prayer is now is that the family will be able to equitably divide this up without any issues or drama. Historically, I don't, how like when somebody, whenever there's any uncertainty, like, you know, when you look at when, you know, really rich people die, how their relatives all start fighting over the will. And so I don't know, like there's always, like with famous people, like with Henrietta Lacks, whose story was you know, who's supposed, her relatives are supposed to be compensated for the use of her cells. There's been a lot of fighting in that family about it. So I don't even know, man. That's just gotta be, that would just be so confusing, because it would be like, okay, I don't know how many kids Willa and Charles had, but okay, so it would be their kids and grandkids, and there would be like great grandkids by now. So like, especially like, okay, if one kid has more children than the other one, do they get a bigger share? Like say they had 4 kids, should it be divided into 4 parts, or should it be split up into so that each descendant gets something? So I just seriously hope that that family is able to you know, get the benefit that should have been theirs all along. But it's pretty interesting, you know, I mean, it's like what we saw in Chicago and what we're seeing with the Jesuit churches, that, you know, if places like communities and agencies and communities and organizations can take responsibility for trying to right the wrongs of the past, you know, in a small, you can try and do it in a small way. So yeah, so then I was reading about it in the New York Times, and then somebody wrote in about like, yeah, my family is still trying to get the land that was taken from us in Belarus in 1945. It's like, yeah, I know, but can we just please like keep it on this topic? So yeah, but wouldn't it be cool if they opened it up? Yeah,
That would be very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, make it into a resort again. And so Bruce family, we're pulling for you big time. So I have started listening to a new podcast.
What's it called?
Okay, it's called wait a minute. It's called shit, I have to look on this in this phone. It's called Outlook. Okay, well, anyway, the theme is secrets. And
Selma, Alabama.
Oh no,
it's direct civil rights activism, not
so it's about family secrets, basically. So it's like, yeah, you can like be on this podcast talking about secrets. So one of the people being interviewed. Oh no, come on, cats.
Cat fight.
No, why do you guys, why do you wait till I'm doing a podcast to start fighting? Sorry, audience. So one of the persons being interviewed was an Australian woman whose family, whose mother, she grew up in the 50s, and her parents were spies, and they involved the children in kind of the family business. So like if they would be out someplace, the kids would be asked to, like, okay, if you, because like nobody's going to suspect a kid of something, like, okay, if you notice, because the interviewer was saying, like, what would you look for? And they're like, well, anything out of the ordinary. It was still a little confused, but like, okay, this person doesn't look like they belong. Like, okay, well, great. That is like, you know, really, yeah, exactly. So because I was also curious to, like, okay, well, what were they worried about, and what were they actually trying, because they're like, oh, you know, our dad loved his country, he wanted to serve his country. They were protecting against the Red Menace. In the 50s, everybody was really scared of communism, so they were afraid of, like, the communists taking over Australia. So this woman was talking about her father, and she was saying, like, you know, she just, like, how confusing would that be? You know, then she, like, living in a family like that, like, her dad would just, like, disappear for weeks at a time, and they wouldn't be able to ask where he was. And so, like, they would, but she said they would get to know people in the Chinese community to spy on them, basically. But she was saying, oh, my dad really loved people. He helped people with their forms and their immigration. And there was a guy whose English wasn't so good. So my dad filled out the forms to help him get a mail order bride. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it's like, okay, lady, you have some real interesting values, having grown up in a family of spies. But then what happened was, when she was about 15, she was out on a date for like an hour and came home and was told, your father's dead and he's gone, and that his body had just been taken away. And so she didn't believe it. And she wanted to go, and at first she wasn't allowed to go see the body, but then she was, and she didn't think it was her dad. She was talking about these different details that weren't like him. And, you know, it was, so if you have a family, and so the way the podcast was set up, you didn't know really, like, okay, is she right or is she wrong about this? Because when she talked about because she'd been trained to observe, I mean, the things she noticed that didn't seem like her dad were pretty specific. So at the end, so what happened was, when she wrote a book, she finally talked to her siblings, because they'd never even talked to each other about their family and about their lives. So they finally had this conversation, and they said, like, yeah, dad died, we were there. So I mean, it was, and then she found out, and then, like, their dad would take them, like, she finally, like, talked to her mom, was like, yeah, dad used to take us to these homes and, like, leave us in the car for hours while he went inside. And his mom was like, well, you know, a lot of, like, useful information is exchanged at whorehouses. But so then it turned out that her mom had been, like, an even more top secret spy, involved in even higher level stuff. So this lady said that in the first several years of her marriage, her husband didn't believe her that her dad was a spy. I was like, well, that's horrible. You know, I mean, you people should not, if you can't like have that level of trust, you have no business being married. So yeah, secrets are rough, but it's sure a great concept. So, okay, do you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Facebook, we'll be back shortly.
Hey, love, how you doing? I really appreciate you taking time out to listen to me. It really means a lot. I hope all is well with you. I just wanted to tell you that I owe you an apology, not for falling in love with you, but how I responded to your rejection. My bad. I wasn't hurt by you. I was just hurt by your truth. You always kept it real with me from the gate, like from the beginning of the friendship, and I love you and I respect you for that. And I don't want to throw the friendship away. So I was hoping, will you still be my best friend? Yeah, I had a friend named Adonai. We used to Netflix and chill on Saturday. I ain't seen her in a while. I wonder how she been. Love? I really miss talking to my good friend. She's a big, fine woman with a pretty smile. Her personality used to drive me wild. Good friends, all we ever was. To keep it shopping by mistake, and I fell in love. She stood 5'6" with some nice sized tits. Her DSLs made a nigga buzz quick. She only was submissive when I'm giving her the dick. Any other time she's bossing, laying hard to get it. We were friends before lovers. That's some real nigga shit. We both had a past and we recognized this. We never put a title on our relationship. She lets me do me and I appreciate this. I miss my best friend. I miss you, love. I love my best friend. I really love and miss my best friend. I think that I'm in love with my best friend. Yeah, I'm in love with my best friend. This is dedicated to my best friend. I'm infatuated with my best friend. Yeah, to my best friend. Will you still be my best friend? I really want her as my girlfriend. I want her all to myself. I know better than to let my feelings get in the way of our friendship. That would be a sin. It's hard because she's beautiful and hella cool. On top of that, she likes the same things that I do. Now I'm confused and don't know what to do. I'm getting mad when she tell me she talks to other dudes. We argue on the phone. She hang up in my face. I'm feeling bad because we ain't talked in a couple days. I text good morning, love. She reply good morning, babe. I text back, I apologize. She text back, it's okay. We back talking again. I'm having better days. I got it back. Call me Usher Ray. Cause even though I want her as my girlfriend, my heart knows that it's best to be my best friend.
Yo, CA baby, West, hey yo, yeah, MC Wicks, hey, yo, what up? Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get dumb rich for myself, fuck a bitch. Raised in the gutter, I was hot, not the trick. I kick game and ism is so slick. It's a blessing that I even exist. Trying to manifest my dreams and revenue streams. Lexus with the sun rubbed down to feel the breeze. Ratchet bitches in the bottle with Hennessy. I pop my collar, I know that they feeling me. I'm connected, don't make me your enemy. Legendary, speak on me for the centuries. I keep it playing, I guess it's a Cali thing. Authentic, not a script on your TV screen. See me with 40 midgets up in a limousine. Put your mind to it, you can do anything. Put your mind to it, you can do anything. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get Benjamins. I ain't living like this. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get filthy rich off of talking my shit. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get Benjamins. I ain't living like this. Another day, another dollar. I'm trying to get. Let's go. Filthy rich off of talking my shit. My whole life I've been broke. I'm out for the dough. Cause that shit be crushing my soul. But I got flows and I'm destined to blow up. I got bars, I don't need no luck. So pass me a 40 and let's get dry. If you love the West Coast, throw your fucking dubs up. If the bitch out of pocket, tell that hoe to shut up. Keep it moving, kick rocks, fly shits forever and never stops. I'm like the mayor when I walk in my city blocks. Popping out from the ghetto, who would've thought that I would chase my dreams and make it happen? Hood famous, fuck going platinum. Respected by the real ones in my city, I'm tapped in, that's a fact. I ain't lying, I acting, gotta keep it 1,000, always get to the action. Another day, another dollar, I'm trying to get Benjamins, I ain't living like this. my shin.
What up, Anna?
What up, Roselle? Man, okay, we're moving along here, man. We have had another really fabulous night. So okay, anybody still on here? Okay, so the other secret podcasts what I was watching, one of them had to do with a girl, this isn't whose mom was passing, and so so she didn't know her mom was Black, and she'd be like, Mom, why do you put foundation on before you go to sleep? Her mom would be like, well, you never know if you might get taken to the emergency room in the middle of the night. And that was just really sad. Her mom wouldn't let her her mom just like would never discuss she wasn't allowed, her mom would never discuss it with her, basically. She wasn't allowed to like talk about it or say anything till her mom died. And she was asked, and then her grandfather was pretty racist, so that's what her mom was like needing to listen to her whole life. And then there was a podcast about a brother and a sister that grew up in Sweden that were adopted from Chile in the 1970s. And Chile had, okay, now listen to this. Chile had an initiative in the 70s to eradicate poverty. And how they did that was taking people's kids and sending them out of the country. Yeah. And so it was indigenous kids. So here these kids wind up in Sweden, where like basically just about everybody looks alike, and they eventually the sister was curious about her past, but the brother wasn't at first, and so she went to Chile to try and find her family of origin, but her mother didn't want to see her because she'd remarried, or she married somebody who didn't know about her past, and she didn't want him to know. So she was not ever able to meet her mother. She did meet her biological sisters. So that's an interesting issue. I've had this discussion before with a friend that was adopted, who believes that all records should be opened no matter what. And I kind of don't. And he was saying, like, talking about the like, yeah, I mean, children are stolen for racist, capitalist reasons. I feel like there should be every Calvin, hey Calvin, you got to come on next time. That's Mario's partner. They should be able to, avenues should be open for people to find each other. But I think if the birth parent doesn't want to be found, they do have that right. And that, yeah, that's really difficult. And because there are situations like that. There are situations where a kid being born, where people are keeping the existence of a child secret because they could be killed. And I think that's the case in a lot of wars, like when there's rape as a result of war, sometimes the child isn't accepted by the mother's community. So sometimes that is why people do give birth in secret sometimes. So anyway, so then the brother did wind up deciding the sister looked for his family because she just felt like he ought to do it too. So he wound up moving to Chile and making his life there. And so then the thing that they had to discuss was with their adoptive parents saying, hey, did you know this? Did you know that our birth parents were still alive? And the adoptive parents were like, no, we didn't know that. Which I remember during the 70s, and I'm not sure why this, I don't know. I mean, I think I might have known more about it, like, you know, because of some connections my family had, and the work my parents did. There was the idea in the 70s that your biological origin didn't affect you, that if a baby was, so nothing like this happens now, but I mean, in the past, there were people that weren't told that they were adopted. And there was a thought that people could manage that, and, you know, and that led, like, one of the things it led to was a lot of pain and strife and trauma in the cases of transracial adoption. Children of color were adopted by white people who just would think like, oh no, this is our kid, our experience is just gonna be the same. So no, and that was not the case. And so there's a lot of trauma, and, you know, from people from that era. So, but I mean, back to these Swedish parents, that, you know, like, maybe they should have asked more questions, but that was an era where things weren't questioned as much, or there would have been more of I think there was less you know, like, oh, okay, well, they would have assumed like, oh yeah, these poor babies are orphans because somebody told us they were orphans. There just was more acceptance. There was less knowledge about the practice of trafficking babies. So anyway, so stuff like that is really interesting. There's a TV show called, Frankie and Grace, about these women in LA, and their families have been friends for a really long time. And the husbands fall in love with each other and hook up. And one of the couples has 2 adopted sons. One's white, one's black, and the white son decides that he wants to find his biological family, and he asks his brother, like, oh, well, aren't you curious about your life? And he goes like, well, no, I'm just a black Jewish whatever. But, you know, I mean, it was kind of like this family. I mean, some people are curious about their family of origin, and some people aren't. Some people never want to find out. But now it is just much more common to have, I mean, open adoptions where people know each other, and there's you can do different arrangements, because I mean, God, imagine like if you don't like if you if you don't tell your kid they're adopted and they find out, and you just find out that your parents have lied to you their whole lives. I mean, so
Yeah, that's a bad feeling.
yeah,
I definitely wouldn't want to feel like that.
yeah. I mean, even if they say like, like one of the kids and the kids in our family were just told like, it was, with the adopted kids in our family, it's very obvious that they were adopted. But yeah, I mean, they were just told like, when you're an adult, you can, look for your biological family. And now, I mean, you don't even need to fuck with, paperwork and all of that. There's so many online registries. So anyway, that is a pretty cool podcast in other words. So she knew. Wait, who knew, Trika? Oh yeah, the mom knew. Yeah, she probably did. Oh man, like, oh yeah, I mean, it was just this idea of I mean, it's kind of goes back to even Lord of the Flies, of just an era of thinking like he was trying to examine like, okay, well, what happens if you really leave people alone? And there are some weird, there's a documentary which I don't want to watch because I think it's really sad, of triplets that were separated and all adopted by different families, and it was an experiment to see if how different they, I mean, people love like trying to do experiments on twins and triplets, but these three boys were split up and raised by three different families, and the families might not have even known that they were triplets. It was just these psychologists or whatever that were tracking them the whole time. So yeah, that's just really sad. I mean, you just being denied you're denied the opportunity to have that bond with someone, and just being lied to. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to go look for that documentary.
Were they ever brought back together?
Yeah, because that's the documentary. Yeah. Okay, another aspect of that is how gender variant and children with ambiguous genitalia and intersex children were treated. It was in an era when it was like everybody was like, you're a boy, you're a girl. One or the other children that were born with ambiguous genitalia would be, there'd be like procedures performed or something, and they would just be like, okay, you're a girl. And they weren't. I mean, they had, so, a lot of people grew up really suffering. I mean, feeling like there was something wrong with them because, or that they didn't feel like what they were told. They didn't feel that they were who they were told they were. Does that make sense? So, yeah, there was this idea that if you like, okay, we can just like do some surgery and raise this kid as a girl, even though all, there's hormones, there's all sorts of aspects of who we are, that it's just not as simple as performing a surgery, and that not everybody is male or female. There are more than two genders. So yeah, and so that's another thing that is more understood now in some areas. Intersex children are not treated that way as much now. But it's so okay. Tonight is The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, she's juiced. She
Oh,
is
I'm
juiced.
so excited. If I didn't love our podcast so much, I wouldn't have been doing it. But it's released on The Handmaid's Tale is released on midnight midnight, but Eastern time. So that means people on the West Coast get it at 9 p.m. So I'm just going to sit myself down and watch it. So there we go. Oh man, so like such an Age came over to my house last week to work on some sketches. I could not. Oh man, I was talking, and then I was talking with Tika, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna tell. He's like, do you want me to tell you what to do? And I'm like, no, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I was like, only you could get. I was like, dude, you're telling me how to do something. You don't know what the project is, the basis of the project, and we're, Tika, we're beginning to work together. We were having a conversation, the beginning of a conversation about how to do something. So no, you don't just know how to do it. Age was doing sketches for me, which was very cool. So yeah, and he connected me with Tika. So there is exciting stuff coming up. So I want to do big thanks to Mario.
Much love, Mario.
Much love to Mario. Yes, Mr. Cicito. All of our listeners, thank you very much.
Scott, Miss Trika.
Scott, Trika, we love you guys. Thank you for commenting. Okay. You got anything else to announce, Rizal?
That's pretty much it for me.
Okay.
Until next time.
Till next time. Okay. I'll see you next. Well, maybe before. Okay.
All right. Hey, stay on the Zoom.
Okay.
I'm gonna close it. All right. Thanks, everybody.